October 5th, 1994.
A charismatic cult leader.
Well, they were intelligent people. They were there for the best intentions. And they were being manipulated.
A doomsday prediction.
They're partly occult, partly Christian. They would consider themselves seeking the hidden truths.
And what may be the mass suicide of more than 50 people in 3 locations on 2 continents.
The victims were underground, on the floor, in a circle formation, the head outside.
Tonight, what is this cult and why did they do it?
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
When we come back, we'll be joined by 3 cult experts who are familiar with the cult believed to be involved in today's tragedy.
This is ABC News Nightline.
Each of our guests tonight is the author of a book on cults. Joining us now from our Chicago bureau, Cynthia Kisser. She is the executive director of the Cult Awareness Network. Steve Hassan is a psychologist who has spent nearly 20 years studying cults and counseling former cult members. He is himself a former member of the Moonies. He joins us now live from our Boston bureau. And speaking to us from Toronto, Canada, Ross Laver learned about Jouret's cult in writing a book about a different cult leader. He is the senior editor of Canada's national news magazine, Maclean's. It makes enormous sense to me, Mr. Hassan, that he would want to recruit intelligent minds. What does not make as much sense to me is that intelligent minds would be so inclined to follow him.
Well, the key thing, Ted, is that people do not join cults, but rather they're deceptively recruited and seduced in a step-by-step fashion so that people don't know up front what to believe. Another hot story that I've been following in the media is the Arianna Huffington story, who was a high member of John Rogers' MSIA cult. I know many top educated people who've been seduced by a variety of messiahs, avatars, perfect masters.
You're talking here about the wife of the candidate for the Senate out in California.
Exactly. Michael Huffington's wife is a long-term minister with John Roger, and John Roger claims to be the greatest spiritual teacher in 25,000 years of human history.
And when we come back, I would like each of you to tell me what, if anything, you know about this particular cult, and also what more we may know about Dr. Jouret. We'll be back in just a moment. Mr. Hassan, before we go on, one of my colleagues during the break raised an issue that I think is fair to raise with me and that I should raise again with you. You sort of in passing referred to Michael Huffington's wife as belonging to a cult. I'm not sure how widely accepted, but maybe more importantly, proven that is.
Well, Arianna Huffington has been involved with John Roger for many, many years. I was just in L.A. last week.
I don't question that. What I'm asking about is whether indeed Mr. Rogers' organization is necessarily, does it qualify as a cult?
In my professional opinion, it does. It's a pyramid-structured authoritarian regime that uses deception and recruitment and mind control techniques to keep people dependent and obedient. People are instilled with phobias that if they ever question John Roger, if they ever leave the group, terrible things will happen to them. Peter McWilliams, who's a New York Times best-selling author, writes in his recent book about how he was told by John Roger that he had AIDS, but if he wrote books for John Roger would keep him alive, and this is in direct parallel to this cult situation that we're discussing.
I don't want to go too far afield on that. Let's get back to the issue at hand. There is a danger here, and I want to avoid getting off into speculation here. But is it your assumption, Mr. Hassan, that Dr. Jouret is alive or dead?
Oh, I honestly don't know, Ted. I'm waiting to hear the news as well, but I can tell you that from my experience, because I believed in Moon, I thought he was the Messiah. I gave up my school, my family, dedicated my life to him. Whatever he said was reality.
You're talking about the Reverend Sun Myung Moon.
Exactly, and I have no doubt that as the delusions of a cult leader continue, the people who are caught up in that delusion will suffer the consequences, and my heart goes out to the families who've lost their loved ones. It's a horrible tragedy.
How often does the specter of Armageddon fit into these cult-like notions? It seems to me that we had the same sort of thing with Koresh's group in...
Absolutely. And let's look at other organizations, some of which even are considered religions, but are still operating with the same behavioral mind control techniques, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, that are saying, Armageddon, Armageddon, Armageddon. Don't go to school. Don't get married, because Armageddon's going to happen. This kind of fear programming causes people to be so stressed out that they cling to someone who speaks confidently and authoritatively, that if you listen to what we say and give formula ABC, then everything's going to be okay. I can't say enough about the work of groups like the Cult Awareness Network, the American Family Foundation, that has gone out to preventively educate people. If anyone's listening that says, oh, I could never be seduced by mind control in a cult, you are vulnerable.
On that note, let me thank you all for joining us. Ms. Kisser, Mr. Laver, Mr. Hassan, good of you all to be here. I'll be back in just a moment.